Now we're going to talk to the drivers who will be at the wheel of the new LM P1s. It'll be a real challenge, what with the hybrid engines, narrower tyres and the obligation to master fuel consumption. So, what do the new rules change for the drivers?
30% is a big gain that we have to achieve. So we try to find a little bit everywhere, on our driving, the engine and the aerodynamic. We have to look at all the data and try to understand where we can save a bit more fuel. It's pretty technical, but it is exciting.
You have to change your driving style slightly. Today you harvest energy every time you brake. All that energy will be fed back under acceleration. So their aim is to have as much free energy as possible, and that means harvesting as much as you can. In the past you tended to release the gas pedal a bit. Now it's much better to give the brakes a quick stab to harvest energy.
For the drivers, the most important one is the efficiency. And the efficiency will very much come also into the driving style, how we approach each race weekend, and particularly each racetrack, and certainly every lap. Because every lap we will be back to zero in terms of the energy level we are allowed to use on any particular circuit. So yes, it will be more challenging, and in that sense we will be more busy than ever behind the steering wheel, because we have to get through the same traffic, and the lap times will not be far away from where we were before, even though to all these changes in regulation.
Then box this lap, fuel only.
Copy.
We have to be very, very strict with the drivers in what they can and cannot use. This goes for qualifying and for the race. During the practice sessions we don't have to do that, but it's in our interest to make sure that we practice that so that the drivers are fully aware of what they need to do.
Pierre, I imagine that the driver has a big influence on tyre wear.
Of course, Fred. Depending on their style, some brake more aggressively. Others are smoother and save the rubber. However, the trickiest thing for the drivers in the fastest cars will be the traffic management, given the speed difference between the various categories.
Deuxième aux 24 heures, quand même. Wow.
Is driving a car with a hybrid engine different to that of a normal car?
It's clear that it's another way of driving. There'll be a lot more ploys which will help us save fuel, in the traffic above all. Imagine you come up behind a GT. You're going to think twice and say to yourself, if I pass him before the corner, am I going to save fuel or not? And you have to learn all those techniques before the races start.
Timo, you're also used to racing GTs. Is that an advantage when you're in an LM P1, especially in traffic?
I can say in the LM P1 to be the guy who's overtaking the slower cars is much more difficult to judge and to not lose time and still be quick and still be safe and not to risk too much. So this will be quite a big task this year as well. I mean, Le Mans is always an important race. I mean, also for the other cars.
Good news for the drivers. With the new regulations, the driver's safety will be improved. We'll tell you more about that in the next episode.